Hi, everyone. Welcome to the TimingResearch.com Crowd Forecast News, episode number 309 for August 23rd, 2021. We are recording this live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. My name is David Kosmeter. I'm the creator of TimingResearch.com, and you should be seeing my screen with the S&P 500 chart on it. And today I've arranged for a great lineup to join us. So we have Wally Olopade, Alaina Nicole, Harry Boxer, and the option professor back to moderate. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him.
Okay, great. And thank you very much, David. We had a very big day on Friday and even a bigger one here today. Everyone who was looking for an everything rally, certainly getting it today. Doesn't look like there's much going down on today. But we're going to get into with the analysts here exactly what's going on and then their take and their angle on how they approach the markets. But before we get started, let's introduce everybody so we know who we're listening to. First one up is Wally Olopade over at Right Side Trading. Wally, just a little background on yourself and a little bit about what's going on at Right Side Trading.
Yes, well, absolutely. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me on your show. Great show to be on. My background is in obviously technical analysis and quantitative analysis. Predominantly, we are swing traders. And so basically we hold positions anywhere from a month to 3 months is typically what we focus on, with a goal of trying to focus on quarter by quarter results is what we predominantly focus on. And so we have this notion of planting now and reap your rewards and harvest later. So that's kind of like our approach to it. But yeah, that's what we do. And that's a little bit about us.
Okay, sounds good. Alaina of Option Bay. Alaina, can you give a little background on yourself and of course, what's going on at Option Bay?
Yeah, thank you for having me. So I predominantly am a scalper. I'm very technical when I trade. And I just, teach predominantly women, but there's some men too, just how to get in the market and make some daily profit, as well as teaching people how to set themselves up for retirement in the long term. But thanks for having me, you guys.
Oh, you bet. Sounds great. And we'll get into all that in a minute. Harry Boxer, the legendary Harry Boxer. He's obviously got more experience than most people in the world here on this stuff. So he brings an awful lot to the table, an awful lot of knowledge, and we're very lucky to have him with us. Quick background for the people who are not aware of yourself, Harry, and what's going on at Tech Trader.
Well, I have over 60 years experience. I hate to say it, but it's true. I'm going to be in my mid 70s shortly. I've been doing this for a long time. Look, all I know is that I look at day and intraday patterns, and I look at short-term patterns for swing trades as well. And the several hundred people that are online with me every day in my site are active traders, and many of them are day traders. And so I'm not as concerned about the markets in terms of the overall trends of the market, because individually we look for stocks that are that have momentum, that are running, that are trending even intraday. But a lot of those intraday stocks turned out to be the beginning of important moves that can be swings over the next 3 to 5 weeks, or even 3 to 5 months. That's the duration of most of our trades, day trades and short-term swing trades. And I've been doing this for a long time. I had quite a few years in Wall Street prior to that as a technical analyst. I wrote a book on technical trading called Profitable Day and Swing Trading at Wiley and Sons. And I think trading is a lot of fun. I think that speaking with you guys is also a lot of fun, and let's do it.
Sure. And again, a lot of people think we're going into a very much stock pickers market, and that keeping things on a short leash up at this level is not a bad idea. So you seem to be trying to do both of that, trying to pick good stocks and also trying to keep them on a short leash.
Absolutely.
All right. So anyway, we have a couple of questions we always start the week with, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes. The first question is the S&P today opened at on the SPX I use as a gauge. It opened today at 4450, so you're already 30 some odd points to the good. But where do you think it's going to end Friday from the 4450 level? Up, down, sideways, and your confidence level. Let's start out with Wally.
Great. Yeah, I think it's definitely up without a question. Confidence level on a scale of 1 to 10, or say 1 to 100, 100.
Okay.
If it's a
So
scale of 1 to 10,
you're fully committed that this is going to be something that'll follow throughout the week.
Absolutely, without a question.
Alaina, how do you feel and what's your confidence level?
Yeah, so I do think we'll see some upside like throughout the week, but I know the Fed has like the Jackson Hole Symposium, I think starting Thursday.
Mhm.
So I think we could possibly see a little pullback or sideways movement Thursday and Friday.
Okay, but probably higher than we are on the opening of 44.50 today.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And Harry, where are you at on this?
Well, as you know from our last conference, I was the only one bullish. I remain bullish until the market tells me otherwise. The trend is your friend. Right now, we're breaking to new all-time highs as we speak. The
Right.
S&P is almost 44.89, up about 47 points, and this is breakout time. And the NDX is following through. And the more important thing is that I want to see and I want to keep close tabs on is the small cap and transportation indexes. I need basic Dow theory says the transportations have to confirm the industrials, and although that's old school stuff, and I'm not old school despite my age, I believe that the market itself has got incredible upside momentum, and there's a huge short position out there that has to be squeezed and wrung out, so to speak, before they take this market down. That's my opinion.
And that means you'd be keeping an eye on IWM and IYT, which are a couple of ETFs in the Russell and the transports. They're obviously getting a good bid here today, and the IWM got a good bid on Friday. So you're seeing that as a very constructive sign to confirm that maybe this thing can keep going.
Yeah, the numbers I have projected on my charts are substantially higher. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. All right, let's go to what's behind the curtain on these opinions, okay? So, Wally, can you give us a couple of ideas on why you believe it will be stronger as we go to the end of the week?
Yeah, absolutely. The reason why, first and foremost, is just the fact that we've already bounced up the 50 simple moving average. That's one of the first technical analysis signs that was going up. Anybody who's interested in candlestick signals will also realize that we had a Harami signal with a confirmation that's also in the form of a morning star signal. So all that put together, and just plus the fact that this is the rally that we needed to see in the month of August after the pullback. It's right on cue seasonality wise. It's right on cue. And so it's no reason why it should not keep on going higher.
So some of the moving averages and the seasonality all add up to a pretty good deal.
Seasonality, moving averages, candlestick signals is a confluence of information saying it's all bullish.
And the Okeechobee cloud's probably underneath this too, isn't it?
Probably. I'm not sure. I don't see that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't really follow it too much, but I like saying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty cool saying. But no, I mean, quite frankly, it's just too much bullish line. It's kind of like what Harry said. It's like nothing has told us that this is bearish. And so, you know, in the absence of bearish information, the only way you can go is bullish.
Okay, Alaina, how do you feel about some reasoning behind your feelings? You did mention the virtual meeting for the Fed, but anything besides that might affect things going forward here?
So yeah, just the daily chart on the SPY, I just think like it, you know, we had a nice little reset last week, a nice little pullback, and then we bounced like right off. On my chart, I've got like the 20 EMA. We didn't quite get down to the 50, and then, you know, today was super bullish. So I mean, the MACD and RSI are both, you know, pointing straight up. So I'm bullish on the SPY for sure.
Yeah, I was looking at a relatively shorter term chart in the last 10 days, and there was a gap that the S&P had between about 44.65 and 44.70 or something. So that got filled. And now there's a little bit of a gap down there between 44.40 and 44.50. So it'll be interesting to see if that's a magnet at any point in time. Anyway, Harry, how do you feel about some of the reasonings that you have behind, is there any technical indicators that we haven't spoken about or anything like that you're looking at?
Well, I look at market leaders, and all you got to do is look at the NASDAQ generals. Even Netflix, which was trailing, suddenly exploded where he's been moving here. It's up by 7 days in a row. Microsoft new all-time highs. It's funny today, Microsoft is down 27 cents. Only one of the few stocks on my entire board. I usually monitor about 50 stocks. I have 48 up. Microsoft's one of them that's down. So the market's doing it without Microsoft, only because that's been up about 8 or 9 points in the last couple of days, both new all-time highs. Apple, new highs, Microsoft, even Netflix is starting to come into play here. If you take a look at NVIDIA, look at any of the big boys. Google, new all-time high again today. It's up about another, 70 points today. And Amazon, which was the weak sister recently, is up 75. So there's a very strong underlying tone here for the tech stocks, which were beaten down. And so I think you're going to start to see, and by the way, the LABU, which was the real laggard, the biotech index, is up about 6 points, and that's up about 10, 12%. So that is the one area that I thought if I start to see the biotechs run in this market environment and the semiconductors with a worldwide shortage in chips and a real good chart, and I'm not a fundamentalist, but look at the chart on the SMH and look at the chart on the FAS, the financials. I follow three groups: financials, semis, and bios. And when all three are in conjunction on the upside, you got a bull market, you got a bull phase anyway. However, from a timing standpoint, the August-September period can be real volatile. And I think though, there's a lot of reasons for this market to go up for a week or two, and they get maybe a nasty little turnaround to the downside. Let's put it this way. All it takes is one bad piece of news in the world to take this market down. It's set up to do so. But until that happens, the trend's your friend and the trend is up. And all I'm interested in is the day trades and the swing trades that I come up with for my traders.
Yeah. Because then you can keep it on a short leash. If things change, you'll be one of the first guys out of the movie theater.
Well, not just that, but every trade I put out, I put stops on, and they know exactly where to get out if it breaks down.
You mentioned Netflix. That's interesting because, I look at the 13F filings of the very large investors like Tepper and Skyon and Druckmiller. A lot of them had communications and technology and financials as three of the biggest areas that they're in. And then Netflix was mentioned quite a few times. So it's interesting that you're mentioning that. You're seeing maybe a little turnaround and maybe a run coming in Netflix.
And the reason I'm saying that, take a look at the chart long term, and you'll see that for 1 year, it's been in a trading range from 460 to about 580. If it breaks out above 580, 890, its stock could be 600-700.
Yeah, and these guys, the 13Fs are for the last 90 days that ended in June 6th. But if I look at Netflix, it's been in the range of 480 and 550 for that whole period. So if they were taking positions, they certainly weren't, they were obviously looking for growth as we go into the end of the year. So
the other point I wanted to make is back in 2015 and 16, and then again in 2018, 19, it did the same thing and went sideways for a year. And then boom, each time. Believe it or not, if you draw your lines across the bottoms and tops and look at where the top of the channel is, Netflix is $1,100, a double from here.
Yeah, they got the subscribers, right?
Sorry?
They've got the subscribers.
No question about it.
Yeah, and people will probably even go over to them once they get tired of trying out all these other ones. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, because they don't want 97 bills. They just go to Netflix and get everything they need in one bill, Okay, so anyway, that's basically how we feel about the market right now and about some of the stuff going on behind the curtain. Let's go over some specific things that you guys are doing so that people get a little bit of a flavor on what each company is up to. So Wally, give us an idea of maybe some of your methodologies and maybe if you have any specific ideas you want to share, we could go over that as well.
Yeah, sure. So basically what we focus on more so than anything else is trying to find stocks that are reversing at the bottoms. And when I say bottoms, I'm not necessarily saying the exact bottom, but I'm just saying like whenever a pullback has occurred and then it's ready to start heading back up, trying to catch that very early is what we focus on. Because our goal is to hold on to trades for about a month to 3 months, we predominantly focus on the weekly chart, okay? And so for that reason, we're looking for stocks that have based for quite some time. So an example would be Tesla at this stage. Tesla is one that I am literally beginning to start recommending to our subscribers and say, you want to start getting involved in Tesla because it has been in that.
Can we see a chart on Tesla, David? So we can put a face on this?
Exactly. And go to the weekly chart of Tesla and you'll see what I'm talking about. Because at this stage, you can see how it's just been basing right there for quite some time. One of the cool things is, most people might not recognize that double bottom that you see that happened right where that line is that you have, which was May 10th. Okay, so now it's coming off of that double bottom, like right there. There you go. So that double bottom right now, so we've been slowly but surely beginning to increase little by little by little. And even though it hasn't really exploded quite higher, you go back into the smaller timeframes and you start seeing that, wait a second, things are beginning to pick up. And now that the market in general, like I always try to tell people, it's like a big old tide. When the tide rises, everything lifts up with it. And now that all that is beginning to happen, I won't be surprised that Tesla is getting ready to do, the unthinkable, which is, surpass all-time highs for some people.
Yeah. I mean, it's got the RSI down here. You also should mention that came down towards 50 and now it's back coming back up. And if it breaks above these numbers around whatever, 720 or whatever, I don't know how many people would want to be shorted, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for anybody who's trying to short Tesla
Yeah.
at this stage now, unless there's something else going on outside that I don't know or internally that I
Yeah.
don't know. But from everything I've seen, there's nothing that says that Tesla should have any problem going higher. So this is what I mean. We've had that pullback. It's been basing for quite some time. This is where we love to buy before it reaches all-time highs. I'm not a big proponent of trying to chase stocks after it hits all-time highs. Matter of fact, last year, our whole goal was to see if we can get into stocks just like this that would hit all-time highs. And we did over 98 of them. Our goal was to do 5 a month minimum. And we were able to knock that out, surpass that goal. This year, we're on track to do about 100 right now. And so it's just trying to find these stocks, being patient, take your time, find the good ones. I like the ones that are like more valuable as far as price is concerned. So like anything over $200, $300, $400, I really love those because it usually signifies that most of the retail traders are not interested in trading that. Most retail traders.
This has overcome that bad news with the autonomous driving, the cruise control. So it overcame that. Some people may want to have a limited risk exposure up here because it is the kind of stock, if the news does change, taking $200 off the stock doesn't seem to be too much difficulty. So maybe a call spread here to have limited risk but nice upside would be something to look at. Would you think that?
A call spread, maybe. I would prefer a put spread to than
You mean a credit
else.
put spread?
A credit put spread.
Yeah, I was just thinking about somebody who wanted to make a lot of money though. You're not going to make a lot of money by a credit put spread.
Yeah, so again,
in other words, if you think the thing's going to 800 on a breakout, selling a put spread for a couple of bucks is certainly not going to
you have to
not going to get into the steakhouse.
Depending on the premium that is given us.
Yeah. I don't know what the premium is.
So depending on the premium, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Given that line of thought. But yeah,
and you're trying to do a little bit, obviously, a more highly probable trade, because if you do a credit put spread, if it goes up, you could win, sideways, you could win, and even if it goes down a bit, you could win as long as your strikes are out of the money. So I hear what you're saying. It's definitely a more cautious approach. But if you're looking for a breakout and you're trying to make some money and you're willing to speculate, this looks like the setup that you're looking for.
Yeah. So in that case, yes, I agree with you. You do a call spread. You own the stock outright if you want to.
Yeah.
But the idea here is there's so many ways we can ride this vehicle, but
there's a lot of ways to play a breakout, and like I say, so anyway, that's anything else you got on your plate there? That looks pretty good to me right there. What else?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. And then
that's your number one target right now.
Yeah, number one target right now, that is stock. Outside of that, then it would be the cryptos in a sense.
Yeah. When you're doing the crypto, do you do GBTC and ETHE?
Yeah.
You want to throw those up, since some people might be interested in that? Because our belief is that the bottom's in July, and that viewpoint is looking very good every day.
Looking really good. I am super excited about it. I mean, we've been talking about this for about 2-3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't get into GBTC right now and ETHE, you are going to be regretting it in the future. That's just as simple as it gets,
That 36 number was very big for GBTC to get above and hold, and it's doing that.
It's doing that. Exactly. So
and this one, it was about 28 or so to stay above, pretty much.
Exactly. And you could go back to that same chart that you had on ETH. If you can go back there, you'll see how, and even actually in GBTC as well, notice that double bottom that we had. Again,
July was it.
Yeah. Those are all signs that, look, it's put in the bottom. This is it. It's like, it's not going any lower than this.
Well, I mean, if you're a believer, you have to play it that way. If you're not a believer, it'll go to 5,000 and you still won't believe it.
And you still won't believe it.
All right, let's turn it over to Alaina real quick. We'll come back to you in a little bit, Wally. Alaina, what do you have on your radar, and some of the reasoning behind it, and any technical indicators you like to use so people get an idea of your approach?
Oh yeah, so normally I really don't even like to get into like the bio stocks, but BNTX I've had my eye on. I'm looking at the 4-hour right now, and I really just like how this just bounced right off the 50 EMA. Super bullish today with like the Pfizer FDA approval. And really love this setup. Like the MACD is like beautiful, RSI is beautiful, and I just think this has a lot of room to run this week.
Yeah, and it had a heck of a drop, from the 460 area, I guess, all the way down to 320. So obviously a lot of people who wanted to sell it, you would imagine that they would have sold it.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I'm not even, I don't like to swing trade. I'm really, really big on scalping, but I just feel like there's so many opportunities here to play the upside.
what do you call it? The Fibonacci retracement from that move of 460 down to 320 would be about an $85 move. So it would take you to about 405.
Hmm.
Is that a reasonable short-term target on the bounce back Fibonacci retracement?
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. Like it's literally primed to do that. And I really could see that. And like I said, I don't really like to swing trade, but this would be something that I would actually
Yeah.
buy and hold for sure.
Yeah. And anything else that you're looking at besides BNTX?
Well, I was looking at Tesla as well. I know we just talked about that. And I'm
Yeah.
also actually looking at PayPal. Let's see. Let me pull up my 4-hour here. So PayPal, it just had a nice drop, and I like on the 4-hour, it's kind of just bounced off the 200. But the way I'm looking at this, the 50 EMA is really like, you know, coming down towards that 200. So if PayPal were to death cross, I think that'd be a nice play on the downside. But right now it looks like it's still trying to retest that 50.
Yeah, and that RSI is under 50, so that's never a good sign if you're trying to be bullish. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys do anything with different, do you look at any sectors, or do you have like a scanning situation where you could care less what sector it's in, or?
Yeah, so typically when I do, I like to use FinViz. I like to scan the market in the morning around 9:40 for volume. And I pretty much just go where the volume is in the market. So sometimes it takes me to different sectors. But for my long terms, I kind of have a different system. But as far as my scalps go, I'm really just looking for volume and momentum.
And you would focus more on the short-term stuff, because the longer-term stuff you kind of leave alone?
Yeah, like the long term, as far as options go, the long term, I'm really just for scalping. But I like to take my profits from the scalps and then put that into my long term portfolio. I'm just an impatient person, so
Yeah, well,
yeah.
I mean, you know, when you're short-term, you know, you have to see what you got to see, and then you got to move on it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Harry, you obviously got a lot of different stocks. Just sharing a couple of them or so with us, and you know,
first,
again,
yeah,
your
first of all,
methodology.
I just want to say I totally agree on those chart patterns of GBTC and ETHE. I mean, they're no brainers to me. When the stock turns around like that and breaks out above resistance, and you're showing those consolidation patterns that say higher, those stocks are screaming higher. They look great. But some of the swings I put on recently, the LTHM and the lithium group, Livent, LTHM. Take a look at that chart. You'll see what I'm seeing. First of all, break out of a base on high volume, a reversal and a pull right back to the 50, held it for 4 days, and now it's popping again. I think if it takes out 27 and a half, you're looking at low to mid 30s in the stock. And the measure move indicates we could probably get at least 10 points off of that bottom, or 32. That's number one. Number two would be First Solar. I like the solar group. Look at the base that's being built on FSLR, and that's the leader in the group. If the solars go where I think they can, FSLR, right now, look at that base pattern. And it broke out and pulled right back to the 50. Now it's moving up again. If that damn thing takes out about 97 or 8, it could run up to 112 and then 120, 25. Those are my targets. It's a beautiful base pattern.
You know, on both of them, Harry, I'm noticing one thing is you like to see a market that is pulled back and almost formed that 1, 2, 3 formation, because the third move is the strongest of all. In other words, that first move.
Right. And the other, if you look at this handle, look at that pattern, it's a cup and handle.
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Okay, and the other one's the same thing. This is almost, to me, the 100 options, which are probably trading for a couple of bucks, may be a really good deal if this thing gets to 112, 120. So it could be a big percentage. A couple more that I like.
How much time on something like this would you think? I mean, obviously the options are going to cost quite a bit, probably, or what do you think?
You know, if you go to September options,
so you keep it on a short leash with them as well. Maybe if this thing is going to go, you figure it's going to go in the next month.
I think it's going to go in the next week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you give it a month, it would be like giving it an eternity, right?
Yeah, I agree. But you know, there's different. A stock like that has options at every price strike price, and it goes out months. So you can pick and choose what you want to do. I like out of the money. I like out of the money options, and just a little bit below the strike price, because once they blow through them, the premium really starts to expand, and I like that.
Yeah, you mean just a little bit above out of the money. Yeah.
Right. Now, also look, these stocks I just showed you are more mainstream stuff, but there's some new issues and some really interesting new patterns that have developed in a couple of stocks. Let me throw one out there called SKIN, S-K-I-N. Take a look at this chart. And look at the flag it's developing right here after the breakout. S-K-I-N. And is it Nancy? Yeah. So here's a stock that had a line-based pattern after the IPO,
Okay.
was going nowhere.
Yeah.
Suddenly started surging. It went into a consolidation pattern that almost looked like a head and shoulders. But I always tell my people, head and shoulders are not head and shoulders until they're completed. They can often be wedge patterns. That's exactly what this was. Look at the breakout a week and a half ago, and then the pullback little falling wedge on low volume. The stock pulls back on low volume like that, with momentum like that. I think the stock could be my short-term targets for my swings are 25 and 29. I think the stock could be even in the mid 30s. It's that kind of a stock.
It's like a down flag up pull going to be happening maybe?
Yeah, I call it more of a falling wedge, but it doesn't really matter what you call it. It's a
Yeah.
continuation pattern. And the most important part is the pullback comes on much lower volume.
But with your analysis over time, you have noticed that when stocks have had a run, then they have a pullback, whether it be 38%, 61% or whatever, and then they start going back up. That going back up can be a very exciting phase because it could be a prelude to taking out the high and accelerating because that
Totally.
three
This-
move
this-
is so.
This is a momentum stock, and once the momentum blows out through the highs, the shorts get squeezed. The
you
traders going long, and I mean that's why I'm saying this could be 5 or 10 points in the next couple 3 weeks. Even.
So you love that kind of a setup.
I love that kind of a setup because once it's in play, you can really get going. I got a couple more ideas if you have time.
Sure.
SIMO is one of the. I've been trading this stock for 20 years. I noticed Silicon Motion, a really neat little semiconductor stock. And if you look back even further, you'll see how the long-term chart looks. But again, another example. Look at that beautiful base, the breakout, the pullback to about 57. That's where I went long. I told my people to buy this in the high 50s, but an $80 target, we nailed it. And now it's pulled back a little bit. And I wouldn't be in a rush to buy it because it's gone from 35 to 80. But any pullback in the 60s or low volume pullback consolidation is a nice setup for what I think could be a $100 stock.
What else you got cooking?
PAVM, kind of a choppy but upward trending chart. Take a look at that. Come off the explosive move off the low. Early this year, it popped, it pulled back and wedge, it popped, it had a falling wedge, it popped again, it just keeps stair-stepping its way higher. My next target is 8, 8.5, maybe 9.
So again, you think it's had the pullback, you think the pullback is over, and now you're looking forward to make that move that takes out the 8.
Right, but I would wait for the stock to take out that 50-day moving average there, and also, I'm a big proponent of volume. If the stock breaks out with low volume, I don't touch it.
Right.
It's got to be a price volume surge, a combination of both. But this is a thinner stock, so it may be tougher.
But it's also interesting, the RSI is getting near 50. So if you're correct and we get above these averages, you'll probably get the RSI back above 50, and that'll make everyone take a sigh of relief.
Exactly right. And one more swing trade I put out recently for my people, and it's very speculative, but I want to show you ALF, Alfie Software. This stock literally exploded. And if you take a look at that move, it made from 2 to 24 and then pulled down in a falling wedge. My favorite patterns, once they pop out and pull back and consolidate, get really quiet near the 50 where it is right now, this is a stock to keep an eye on because anything over, say, 11, 11 and a quarter, the stock could go vertical to 16, 18 again.
Right. Yeah, there's plenty of room upside if it takes off. And again, it has a similar pattern in that it's had a pullback.
Yep.
And if that pullback is over, the next target is that high. And if it takes out that high on volume, Tom, Dick, and Harry are going to run for the hills, right?
Yeah, especially Harry.
All right. Listen, there's a lot of different sectors out there that are, we haven't discussed, and some of them are out of favor, or they've been out of favor, and now they seem to be coming on. So I just wanted to throw up some and get some opinions on some of the ones that I've been looking at that seem to be turning. One is in the financials. The financials were doing great. Then interest rates looked like they were not going up. So that meant, the yield curve flattens out. So if we put up XLF, which is all the financials, is that really on its way back up? And is that a great thing to look into? Let's get an opinion on all three. I'm going to throw out the different sectors just to get some opinions for people that are looking at things other than what we're looking at. XLF. So what do you think, Wally? Is this something you jump on now because it looks like it has one of those Harry kind of deals where the correction is over and now we're going to go after the high?
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at that, so a couple of things that you got to see, just from a technical analysis point of view. So after the double bottom that was set back in July, we broke out above the neckline of that double bottom. Look at where price has now come back to. Literally, that old resistance has now become what? New support. Okay.
Right.
And, you can even see the RSI just bouncing off of that same level. So whether it's resistance level on the RSI that broke out, and now we're bouncing off of that, same thing on the price chart as well. I mean, this is, like you said, a no-brainer that the market, and in this
That's why I'm good at it,
sector,
because, I'm a no-brainer kind of guy.
I love it. I love it. I mean, this is what I tell people. The stock market is not random. It's like, if it's too complicated, you're doing something wrong. This is a slam dunk kind of situation. And with the pullback that we just recently had, oh my goodness, I'm talking about, I'm predicting all-time highs. Mark my words, this is going to all-time highs.
Alaina, do you like the look of this? And are there any specific banking or financial stocks that you're fooling around with? Alaina? Is Alaina with us?
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, now I can. Sure. You must have had yourself on mute like that guy on Workday commercial,
Sorry. So yeah, I do like XLF. Typically when I'm scalping, I'm looking at BAC as well as Wells Fargo. They tend to like kind of run together. And so I do like what they're doing right now for the upside. And like I said, I mean, like you said earlier, XLF kind of encompasses that. So I do like to scalp these. I absolutely like to scalp these.
And there could be something going on there. Harry, does it fit the Harry Boxer criterion of we had a run up, we had a pullback, and now it's going to go after the high, or you don't trust it?
No, as Wally said, you get a breakout, not only a breakout, there's a gap there. It came right down to the gap and the 50 and bounced. It's an easy stop. Right underneath that little last pullback a couple of days ago is where you put your stop and just let it run. It's right there. See it? And look at a little gap. I looked at a gap about a week and a half ago where it broke out. Yeah. Notice that it got right into that gap and just about filled it right there. See it? And then turned right around and ran right back up again. So let's see where it closes. Yeah. I prefer, by the way, instead of XLF, I prefer the FAS. Can we put that up for a second? Yeah, same chart. Same thing.
Oh, really, you want a little spice in the eggs, huh?
Well, it also gives you a little bit more, I think, more volatility. And I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm a big believer, if you're going to go for leverage, go for it.
Yeah. And this thing goes pretty good when it goes. So yeah, it's a similar idea, but this will give you a little more STP in the gas, huh?
There you go.
I got you.
And the same thing goes with the three prime. I think that the market is led by semiconductor, biotech, and financials. If you look at those three, SMH, bring that up for a moment. You'll see that there's a trend line there. You can draw a line across your trend line.
Okay.
And there's also a channel up. And we've had off the lows, we've made higher lows all year, and we made higher highs all year. Right. So I suspect your next target is about 275 or about 12 more points from here.
Yeah, because some people were saying that when this thing was dropping, it might be a precursor to a drop in the overall market, but that looks like that game is off right now.
Well, I'm the last thing I am is a fundamentalist, but when you keep hearing about plants are shutting down because they can't get chips, there's a worldwide shortage in chips, and every one of these companies, like there's companies that I've been following for years that were $1 and $2 a share that are now 15 and 20 because they're semiconductor stocks. And business is booming all across that whole industry, no question. Yeah. That, and then finally the biotechs, either LABU or BIB are the two I follow, and they're telling me, look, that there may be a turnaround. Look at the gap up today. I can go in a little closer. It's gapped up and it's across the 50. If it can close here, you may start seeing 63, 65, and even run up to that first snapback high back around 72. I wouldn't be surprised. And bring up, if you wouldn't mind, BIB for a second. It's even stronger.
BIIB, right?
No,
BIB. Just BIB.
Right. Same thing.
Yeah, same idea.
The difference in these two indices, it's amazing that they're same, both of them are biotech, and yet LABU looks much weaker than this one. And I believe this because this is more of the mainstream, larger biotechs versus the small caps. So,
what about the volume on both of these? Pretty good.
Not of late, and that's why I'm a little concerned about the bounce today has come at pretty low relative volume to what we've seen in the past. So I want to start, if it breaks out, and I mean we're right at the breakout point here, and we run up towards 111, 112 in this, and we don't get volume, then I'd be concerned about the potential double top and a pullback. But the trend is your friend. Go back a little bit further and take a look at this trend, and you'll see rising bottoms and rising tops, and it's in an uptrend.
And the RSI has gone through 50, and it looks like it wants to go north.
Yep.
So that's not a bad sign.
Right.
How about a stock like Teva, TEVA? Does that have any future to it? Because, that's Bill Miller guy who's supposed to be Johnny Sharp. He's held it for a long time. Buffett had a little bit of a position that he still holds.
Let's put it this way. There is several hundred biotech stocks out there, and about 100 of them look like this. Why would you want to be in a stock until it breaks out over 1040, takes out that double top? I mean, once it gets over 1040, it'll go 11.5, 12, 13, 15, all of that. But why buy and try to anticipate now when the stock's in a downtrend with declining tops and bottoms and the moving average is actually rolling over? I wouldn't trust this stock, not now. Yes, that spike off the low was good. Pullback should have held better than it did right now.
Yeah, I trusted it a little bit between 1050 and 11. You can see why I would have. And boy, did I take a hook in the mouth on that one. Yeah. Fortunately, I keep things on a short leash, so I didn't see anything under 1050.
Yeah, there's a lot of great looking biotech stocks compared to this.
Yeah. No, the only reason I was interested in this is, of course, those big guys are in there, and also because of the fact that it is a generic, and maybe all this stuff that's on there now would go generic, and then these guys would benefit it down the road because we're probably going to be taking vaccinations on this stuff for the foreseeable future, right?
Forgive me, but that's fundamental BS.
No, that's true. There you go. That's Mary had a little lamb, and do you want cookies and milk, right?
Yeah.
It's a story, a bedtime story. All right. So, okay. Now, the other one that I had on the radar, which I thought might be interesting, is the industrials. That's XLI. Let's see if there's anything going on there, because the XLF certainly looked interesting.
Well, they're consolidating and they're going sideways. And you can see the potentiality, like in the case of Netflix, where it went sideways for months and almost a year now. It could break out if it gets over 106, 6.25, 6.5 in that range. So
you'd be more like Missouri, the show me state here?
Totally, because it could be a topping pattern.
Yeah.
So you don't know that. And right now it's at the 50. The RSI is at 50. It's like a neutral stance for me, right?
Yeah. But if we start trading 104, 105, 106, then of course you might be on a bicycle, right?
That is true. It could get going. But to me, I mean, this is a snoozer, and there's so much action in biotech, semiconductors, and financial.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Wally, this might be up your idea because you do more of a longer term deal. So snoozers are our business in that area, right? So
yes.
What do you think of the XLI if you had a more of a 3, 6, 9 month time horizon?
So 3 months from now, definitely higher, without a question. 6, 9 months. I liked what Harry said about, fundamental BS, and Mary had a little lamb that just made me chuckle, but sometimes we have to look at certain things. And so quite frankly, with all this, infrastructure bill that's taking place and stuff like that, I do believe that it's going to find its way somewhere in these industrials. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so because of that, I would definitely not keep my eyes off of it. If you're a longer term holder like we are, and I won't even say long term, but more of a swing trader, then yes, I mean, this would be a good time to start acquiring positions. Okay. Because again, with the market ready to start rallying, we can see that this is happening. There's a lot of ETFs too that, play a factor into giving you a view of what's happening underneath the surface here. Yeah. And so one of them is like PAVE, PAVE, which I believe, again, anybody.
Why don't we look at PAVE? Because again, a lot of people are getting down. Yeah, that's a great one, because again, a lot of people got down because it doesn't look like the infrastructure thing is going to get done because of all the stuff going on in Afghanistan. Yeah. But again, the winds of change are constantly blowing, and the next thing you know, we'll have resolution there, and then he'll have good popularity, and then they pass it, and there you go.
And then it goes, but it's literally set it up. It's the exact same setup that we're looking for. It's a setup that we love. Like Harry said that earlier. Oh, this is the type of setups I love. We love setups like this. And so you look at this, and then you look at the stocks that makes up this ETF. They all belong to the XLI. And so it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time. So this is where I'm saying I literally wrote one of my report like 2 weeks ago. I said, now is the time to start planting those seeds. Okay. And just like any plant, you plant right now, but you don't reap the rewards until a quarter from now. So if you're looking for stocks that are going to be higher a quarter from now, 2 quarters by the end of this year, without question, I believe these are already setting up right now for that.
Harry, is this more up your alley as far as looking at something where a pullback has occurred and maybe has a decent chance of going above the former high?
Yeah, I have 3 or 4 swing trades on right now for infrastructure plays. GVA, you want to pull that up for a minute? GVA. Granite Construction. I like the way this is consolidating after a big run.
Oh, there you go.
And it's similar to what you just looked at in terms of the industrials, but this is an infrastructure play. And if it gets above 44, I think the stock goes into the 50s. And believe it or not, Alcoa is a killer chart. I've been long Alcoa. I'm not kidding. I went long at 7 3/4 a year ago. Take a look at AA. AA.
Yeah.
Look at this chart.
Oh, yeah.
AA. Okay, and it continues to look good. It broke out, it pulled back, and now it's spiking up again above the 50 again.
Yeah.
You know, it's obviously see, when I see stocks like this, the easiest thing to do is go underneath that third bar over where we had that one down day.
Yeah.
And look at that low, and that's where my stop is below that. Because
Yeah.
if it rolls up, takes that out, it's going to go down to 32 again.
Now, how about if we broaden the lens and do industrial metals as a general thing and put up something like Cleveland Cliffs, CLF? Is
Yeah,
there
I'm
something
long,
happening?
by the way, CLF and US Steel are both long plays of mine.
They look like in the same basket, right?
Right, take a look at X as well, same thing. All three have just pull back and are bouncing off their 50.
Now, there's one over in Brazil, Vale, looked like it was a dog with fleas, and I thought it had something to do with the fact it's in Brazil, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
No, I mean, obviously there's something going on here that's totally different than the other industrial metals,
Well,
but this was something.
The technical damage is done. The key support was 20. Once it took that out, and it
Yeah.
did it with a gap, there's no reason to be in a stock like that when there's thousands of bullish stocks.
No, although they have the same kind of metals, but again, they have the Brazil aspect, and there might be something going on down there.
Right, but this is U.S. infrastructure play, so that's why Alcoa, Cleveland Cliffs, U.S. Steel, and the metal side, Granite Construction, even U.S. Concrete, although they were recently acquired, was a big pick of mine and a big winner of ours this year.
Now, a lot of these big guys love Freeport McMoran, but I ditched mine because I didn't like the way it couldn't hold 36, FCX. Do you think something in copper is different than these other metals right now?
Yeah, this is the massive head and shoulders top. Take a look.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been long since 13, and I tell my people at 45, it's overbought short term.
Right.
It's had 5 massive waves up, an Elliott wave analysis. Go back a year and you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. It's a no-brainer for me when you see that kind of a move from where I went long to take your money off the table. And then when it broke down, once it broke down and couldn't get back up, even though it formed a little inverse head and shoulders, it failed.
Yeah.
If this should take out this neckline in around 30, 32, this could be in the mid-20s again.
Yeah. I was a little surprised, to be honest with you, because the 13F guys had it all in their account. Now, Lord knows they could have pitched it by now. But the point being is that, and it had a good story because it's used in all these electrical situations. And you know, there's maybe the China slowdown is really hitting this more than others. I don't know.
Another is SCCO, Southern Copper.
Oh, yeah, right.
You see the breakdown?
Yeah, that game's
and it's
over
sitting
too.
here, and if it has a triple bottom, and if it takes that out, God forbid, the stock could be $50.
Yeah. Conversely, if it takes out 67.5, you know, you go back on the bicycle. You know, but that right now, that's not the evidence we're looking at, right? Okay, so Alaina, did you have anything in the industrial area that you've been kind of looking at, Honeywell or anything like that, or?
Honestly, no, that's not a sector I've ever tapped into.
Yeah, it's not that fascinating, really, generally. You know, there's other eggs to fry, right? Okay, now let's look at one other area that has kind of been down. And is it turning? Has it bottomed? Let's look at energy, XLE. And, you know, that looks pretty lousy, but, you know,
Head and shoulders.
little bit of a divergence on the RSI, doesn't matter too much.
I would say that this is something that we should keep an eye on. Maybe
That's what I was thinking.
Hold off a little bit, but definitely watch it this week without a question. Because like you said, that divergence on RSI price is beginning to like reverse. That for those who love candlestick, depending on how it ends today, let's just assume it ends exactly the way it is. This is what you call an island reversal. Okay. Mm-hmm. And usually when you see stuff like this, there's a really good chance that it's going to rally. Now, I would like to see it take out that moving average that you have up there, the 21 EMA. If it can take that out, then I say, you know, sky's the limit on this one. Because from a bigger time frame, the weekly time frame, this is again setting up in an area where any reversal right now could potentially make this thing just really take off. And so then you start looking at some of the stocks that are underneath these, and they're beginning to start doing some interesting things. I remember when I was running my scans this weekend, seeing a lot of energy stocks keep on popping up. I said, something is beginning to happen. And obviously in the ETF, is a average accumulative of different stocks. So some of these stocks will start moving before the ETF starts moving. So I'll say definitely keep an eye on it. We're still watching this. We're not ready to buy just yet, but we're definitely keeping an eye on this one.
Yeah, that's basically how I felt, because there is another shoe that could drop. Next thing you know, if they really had something occur, and oil dropped into the 50s, this stuff is going to have another leg down. And obviously at this point, it's kind of hard to step in front of it with the RSI still under 50 and the trend down like that. Harry, you're not too big on the energy sector, are you?
Oh, yeah, but not now. But I
That's what I'm
will tell
trying
you
to say,
this.
but not now. Yeah.
Well, except for one thing. Press out the intraday 1 minute chart on Gush. Gush is a double bull ETF, and it's up 10% almost today in one day. And it's up it's 58.70 up 511 right now as we speak. And
So this is the XOP on steroids, huh?
basically, I follow this because it's a great trading vehicle. When oil is strong, this is usually up, 5, 7, 8%
Yeah.
in one day, and
Yeah.
and it trades well. So we'll see. Today's volume is 1.5 million. So it's not terrible.
No.
There's others. If you look at the USO, same thing, and that's a much better indicator. Look at the USO; it's up 254 or almost 6% today, and that it's trading 31 million. So,
On a day trade basis, there was a great opportunity to make some money in energy today. There's no doubt about that.
right, yeah, absolutely. But you got to be careful, because is this just a snapback in a rollover downtrend or topping type pattern? I'm concerned about energy. They broke the trend lines and they're snapping back to them. And if they fail here, oil's going lower, and so are the oil stocks.
Also in this commodity sector, what about Mosaic? I saw that on some of the 13F filings. MOS. Is there a future there?
Well, it's had a long run.
Is that
Very
pullback a little bit too far though for the old pullback, and it's going to take out the highs? Is that a little more weakness than you like to see? Or
It's an easy stop here. Just stop under the recent low. I mean, if this is the topping pattern and it takes out 28, sayonara. But if it can get back above 34.5, then it could really rip.
Yeah, I would like to say that, the pullback was more than the typical that you would like to see. So I would say that if we can get it to come back out of that range, you can see that range that it's been in since June. If we can get it to come back above that range, and I would say maybe. So I would agree with Harry, somewhere around $32, $33. We can get it to get around that area and then see how it starts performing there. That might be a good sign. Now, again, just being the technical candlestick analyst that I am, I'm seeing some candlesticks that just tells me, look, it should at least, if the momentum continues like it seems like it's about to do right now, it should take out that most recent swing high we just saw over there around the $34 area. So I won't be surprised that it can take that out, but I would like to see it clear that whole base, so to speak, and see whether or not. So the good news is if it does clear that out, then I would say we can expect it to go to $38 easily.
hey, Alaina, I'm going to throw this one in your court. This is a consumer discretionary. Now, consumer discretionary has got a little bit of a pullback. And one of the big ones in consumer discretionary that everybody knows about is Sbux, SBUX. And it's also a major holding of some of these big traders. Do you see any potential here, or is this just a dead cat bounce as well? Or what do you think?
I'm looking at the, let's see what you guys have pulled up. Yeah, I'm looking at the daily on this, and I really don't like it. Like, I don't like, it's below the 50 EMA. So I'm not confident that it's, gonna go fully below this, because I see the buyers are still pushing it up, but it's not strong enough for me to feel bullish or bearish about.
Yeah, so it's not something that would hit you at all, either, because I'm just and consumer discretionary in general, went on sale and it's trying to bounce back. And obviously, Starbucks is one of the big ones with McDonald's and Chipotle and all that kind of stuff. Places where Home Depot, where people can buy stuff if they want to.
Oh, yeah. If it get past like that, maybe 117, and come back over the 50, I think it would be more bullish for me.
Do you see anything there, Wally?
I have to agree with Alaina. At this stage, I would like to see it come back a little bit. It's pulled back too far. I'm looking at all my time frames, and nothing on my time frames are saying that this is a good buy as of yet. So could it bounce back? Yes, but would I be interested in jumping into this one at this stage? Absolutely not.
All right, let's take a look and go international here, because there's some people who, might be interested in, international investing. So let's just look at a couple of the big ETFs and then go from there. Let's look at the financials over in Europe, EUFN, because they're trading at a very low cost to book. I know that means nothing to you, Harry, right? Price to book. But they are very cheaper than the US companies, banks. So let's start out with Alaina. Do you see anything here on, this is called a European financial. So this is all the banks and financial institutions over in Europe.
Oh yeah, I do like how this just kind of bounced off the 50, and they're pushing up on it. I like the RSI. The MACD I would like to see come up a little bit more, but so far it looks good to me on the daily for the upside.
So this would be a way to play the European financials. And, Europe is supposed to be coming back, and you can see some of their stock exchanges are making new highs, and this is the banking industry. So, Harry, does this maybe look into your, formation type stuff? Harry?
Hey, Harry, you're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. I love this chart.
Yeah.
You had a perfect 5-wave Elliott wave decline, selling climax reversal bar, engulfing on top of that with a breakaway gap. That's an island reversal. It blew through the 50 and both of these moving averages, and then ran up to resistance near the gap down from coming off the high. Then it pulled back and it did a nice fib retracement, and it's sitting there. We call this a V bottom with a right-handed extension. And as far as I'm concerned, it looks to me like, look, you could easily stop this under 19 and a half or so, but
right.
the upside momentum and target from 18 and a quarter to about 20 and 3/4, it gives me 2.5 points. I would say this is a $22, $23 stock.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, like I say, it's supposed to fit into the theme of Europe coming back out of the COVID and all that kind of stuff too,
Except this is a snoozer for me. I would never buy a stock like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is for, people who want to just hold on to something and they got 15%, they'd be happy.
Right.
Let's talk about a couple other places, then we'll go around and close out. Let's talk about Japan, Korea, and Australia. And that would be in VPL, Victor, Peter, Larry. This is how you get exposure to the Pacific, those specific areas. Again, looks like it's on the defensive here. Alaina, do you think it doesn't show much right now?
It looks like it's been consolidating for a while, but it literally just bounced right off the 200. This isn't probably something that I would get into just because I'm not really familiar with those markets. But I do see that they're trying to push it back up towards the 50.
Yeah, there's not much to report here. Do you see anything, Wally?
No.
Yeah.
That's the answer. No.
Yeah, I think they've done extremely a lot of business, and it's been looking at consolidation, and then it's coming down. How about if we look to Latin America with Mexico, EWW, because I think there's something happening there.
That looks great.
Yeah. So there's Mexico, and they're a big exporter, and they are they're supposed to be making out as our economy gets going and everything else. So Wally, would that fit into your plans?
Not my favorite. For me, I would look at this. There's still a lot of consolidation taking place. I don't see no clear path of breaking out just yet. Not even a setup saying that it's getting ready to start breaking out or anything like that. So
the RSI is giving you a little hint, but I agree with you. You need a little more price confirmation. But if it starts taking out 51, I think you're on the road.
Without a question, yeah. So that's why I said watch it for a little bit longer. Would I be jumping in right now? It's a little bit too early to try to determine that. Yes, I know RSI is up where it is, but from just what it's done already, we can see that RSI has been above, below, above, below, below. It just hasn't been really doing so well. So
for all we know, it's going to stay in a consolidation of 51 and 46 for 6 months, for all we know.
Exactly. I'm with you on that.
Harry, you were chiming in a little bit that you thought there could be something here, though, huh?
Possibly, but again, I agree with the others. There's the triple top at 50 and a quarter. It's got to blow through that with volumes for me to get excited about it. The next leg could be mid 50s after that. And going back to the other chart, I wanted to make a comment. The one on the Pacific, that is one massive rounding top if I've ever seen one. Okay, and let me tell you something. If it breaks down under the recent pullback low, this thing could get whacked, and that could there's something going on with Asia and China, and you've seen a lot of these.
Well, the thing is these guys are Korea and they are Japan, and they are, what do you call it, and Australia. But all of them obviously are very dependent on China, and Lord knows what they're doing over there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be interested in this at all until I see 83, 83 and a half with volume. And even then you got a triple, quadruple top at 84 and a half. And
All
this
right,
has got a lot
let's
of,
close out with some kamikaze areas, and that's China, FXI and KWeb. FXI and KWeb.
yuck. Well,
No,
you got a nice,
no stepping in front of the freight train there.
Pass, pass, pass.
Totally.
How about K? Oh, you got KWeb too, and there you go.
You know what they say, if you try to catch a falling nut, you're going to cut your hands. So the bottom line, there's no reason to be in a stock like that until it goes up to 54.5 and does it with volume. Right now, it hasn't shown any signs of turning around. Maybe a selling climax, but no, there's no bounce. Even the last 2 days with this stock way down on big volume and what looked like a volume climax, there's still no bounce in it. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Right. All right, guys, we're near the top of the hour. So here's where we're going to wrap up. Reintroduce yourself a bit. And also, if you have any special offers, explain how people can go to the website and what special offers you might have. Let's start out with Wally and
Yeah. So basically, we have a platform that does pretty much all the analysis that I just shared right now. We have a platform called the Right Side Platform that does all that analysis for you and literally translates that into pure words. And it will say either today's a buy, today place your stop, today sell, today exit your positions. And that's literally all it tells you. So, but it does every single thing you saw me do today. It factors all that in through algorithm. So the special is that if you go to the website, rightsidetrading.com/CFN, CFN, obviously based on today's show, you can see some discount price that we are offering to just those who go to that link. So take advantage of that, rightsidetrading.com/CFN.
all right. Thanks a lot, Wally. And that Tesla tip, I think, was worth the price of admission. And we don't charge for these seminars. You know what I mean?
Excellent. You're welcome.
With
Thank you for having
regards to Alaina, again, reintroduce yourself a little bit, how people can go to your website. And also, if you have any special offers, this is a great time to extend it.
Yeah, so I'm Alaina again. Thank you guys for having me. We do have a website, it's optionsbay.com. We also have an Instagram that we're really active on. Next Saturday, or no, this Saturday, the 28th, we do have a scalping masterclass. I'm just gonna break down my strategy and just show people how they can generate some daily income from the market. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have.
Okay, great. And good to have you with us, Alaina. Thanks for being here today. Harry, you've got so much to offer and so little time to explain it, but please do the best you can.
I just want everyone to know, when you come into my site for free for 10 days, just go to thetechtrader.com, sign up for free. And you'll see that every morning when you come in, I spend an hour going over dozens and dozens of charts. When I pick out the focus list, I then spend time with my traders online before the market opens. I go over each chart. I show them where the patterns are, where support, resistance, targets, and stops might be. And then I prepare them for the trading session. And all during the day, I'm back on showing you as the patterns are progressing. And I'm redrawing my lines, and I'm showing them where you should raise your stop to and where the new targets are and things of that nature. So it's a great place to be with a lot of very accomplished traders. And I look forward to seeing some of you there.
Absolutely, Harry. I think it'd be a very good thing to take up on. And of course, you gave us some very good insights into some good stock formation. So I think that was fantastic. In fact, I think this show today was about as good as it gets, everybody who listens to it, because you got great guests and I think you had some outstanding information. So they don't come much better than this. And I think there was some good focus out there for people to take advantage of in this market. So optionprofessor.com is my outfit. And if you go to that website, optionprofessor.com, and sign up for the free newsletter, just putting your email in, you'll get our weekly update, which comes to your inbox every Friday or Saturday. Okay, David, thank you everybody for being here. I really had a lot of fun with this, and I think, boy, it was very, very informative. So back to David, and thanks everybody, and good luck and good trading.
All right. Yeah. Thanks everyone. Great show. Lots of good info today. And so I'm just a quick reminder for everyone listening, be sure to subscribe to Timing Research on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. You can also just go to TimingResearch.com to get access to any of the past shows or reports that we publish, as well as this episode as soon as I can get it posted. And I just want to thank my guests again for today. Wally Olopade of of RightSideTrading.com, Alaina Nicole of OptionsBay.com, Harry Boxer of TheTechTrader.com, and the Option Professor of OptionProfessor.com. Thanks, everyone.